Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm reviewing LEGO Ninjago Crystallized set number 71775, Nia's Samurai Mech. This has 8 minifigures, 1,003 pieces, and it retails for $120 in the US. Now, I really like the minifigures in this set, but I have never been a fan of the build ever since it was revealed. I was just really hoping for something that looks more like the original Samurai Mech, and I really don't like the color scheme on this one either. My favorite minifigure in this set is Pythor. He's like my favorite Ninjago villain and one of my favorite LEGO minifigures ever, even though they're still using that same open mouth snake head mold for him. I've always hated this, well, not hated because I love Pythor, but I've always disliked it ever since it was first used in 2012, because Pythor's supposed to be so much taller than all the other snakes and minifigures, and yet LEGO just created this headpiece that's so coiled up and is permanently stuck with this open mouth. And yeah, I really wish that LEGO had made like just a regular head mold for him at some point in the last 10 years. Hopefully we'll get it in the future, but if Ninjago is being rebooted, I don't know if Pythor is going to be around anymore. But anyway, I love the white and purple color scheme. It's been a while since we've had a proper Pythor minifigure. We've gotten the purple one in the Legacy line, but it's been a long time since we've seen him in white. He does have that Overlord like purple crystal on his head. And he's got his red eyes, not like crystallized, like purple eyes. He does have this crazy weapon though. And this is like a new sword mold, like holder to like put in one of the golden weapons. So he's stolen the nunchucks of lightning in this set. And that's a pretty cool piece and a pretty cool way to kind of transform the golden weapons. There is, actually I'm just going to pop off his head so that you can get a better look at the printing on that snake tail and his torso. And I really love that snake tail piece, so I'm glad LEGO is still using it. We also have a crystallized version of the mechanic. I mean, it's cool to see returning villains, but I don't care about this guy that much. I do like that face print, though, because he does have those, like, pinkish crystallized eyes. And his hat is cool. And then he has that kind of, like, gauntlet piece with this pink lightning bolt. And then at the back, he's wearing, like, the same armor piece that all of these general minifigures are wearing. And here is a quick peek at his back print, if I can get that thing off. Here's a generic Vengestone Warrior. I love the transparent pieces and prints on these minifigures. Love that new sword piece, love the new headpiece. Everything about these guys is just really, really awesome. Then we have Samurai X Nia, the star of the show here. This has to be one of my favorite Nia minifigures ever. I'm really glad she's not dead after the end of Seabound. And I like the color scheme on her figure here. I don't love this color of blue used on her in general, but I think for this minifigure specifically, it looks really good. I think it has like a really nice balance with all of the gold. I love the new like kind of horn piece they've put in her helmet. And she has some good back printing and shoulder armor as well. This shoulder armor piece, I think it's usually worn like with this side facing the front, but I kind of liked that they flipped it around here. And then popping that off, you can see the same face print underneath that LEGO has been using for a very long time, and I really wish that they had given her a new face for this year. Golden Jay is a pretty cool minifigure. I like how they're merging the gold with still a lot of the Ninja's original color schemes for this year. I think the prints on the torso and legs look really good. I love the ninja wrap piece. They introduced that piece in Legacy, and I've always been a big fan of it. Same face print for him as well that he's been using since, the LEGO Ninjago movie, which, again, that's just really irritating. It's been so many years at this point. LEGO should have really made new faces, because this is kind of like the end of the road for this incarnation of Ninjago. Oni Garmadon is my second favorite minifigure in this set because finally Garmadon returns. He's been absent from the show for a while, I believe. I'm not caught up, but I really like this minifigure. Great torso and leg prints, and of course that Oni mask is just sick. It looks incredible. I really like the print for it, and I'm glad that we got this version of Garmadon. Good back printing, and then underneath, he does have just the same single-sided, or is this a new face? I can't tell. I don't know, but it looks a lot like his original faces from like 2012, which I really like. I think it might be new. Sensei Wu is so decked out in this set that he can like barely stand on his own 2 feet, but it's really nice to get such an elaborate version of him. He's wearing the Golden Dragon armor, which his teenage version was wearing in Season 9, so I think that that's pretty interesting. He does have a nice torso print, not that you can see very much of it. He's got this stickered flag that he's like carrying on his back. I'm not sure what that's all about. And they've been using this head print for a while with the ponytail at the back, but I still think it makes a lot of sense for this figure. There's a better look at his prints. Unfortunately, LEGO does not include a beard for him. That would have been a nice thing just so that you could kind of use him with the armor off. And finally, we have Lil Nelson in this set. This is my third favorite minifigure. He's holding the same kind of flag as Sensei Wu, but I'm going to go ahead and remove that so that it doesn't cover up the figure itself. Love the color scheme on him. This blue and purple really works well, and I'm glad to see the katanas in this color too. That hood and hat combo piece is pretty nice as well. Underneath, he's wearing a little ninja mask. Obviously, a physical piece would be even better, but it's not like he could be wearing one of those face mask pieces with the hood on. And then at the back, you do have that really awesome, cheerful smile. And then popping his head off, sorry, buddy, there is a quick look at his back printing. The villains do get something to go up against the mech in this set, which is nice to see because I feel like LEGO's been kind of straying away from villain side builds in large sets recently. And I mean, I like this thing, but it is kind of weird. So I guess it's supposed to be like some kind of crystal dragon monster. It's hard to tell what exactly it is, but it's got these little wings with these new blade pieces and you can adjust them in and out. I really like the look of this thing. Like the color schemes of all of these crystallized monsters is just really awesome. It's got two stubby little legs back here that you can like articulate at a couple of different points, but it's not like they can really support the weight of this thing just because it is so big with those like large arm wing sections. And I mean, these arms do have some good articulation as well. You've got a big ball joint up there, which is nice to see. Unfortunately, no elbow movement because that stupid like juniorized piece is restricting all motion there. I really do not like that piece if you've seen my Crystal King mech review. And these pieces often fall off, but it's worth it because they look really good. And then it's just got a couple of fingers at the end of the arm, but I really wish that it could just move the elbow a little bit as well. Like they could have put a Mixel's ball joint there. The weirdest thing about this creature is the head, because it has no eyes. So this piece, like this is a new dragon head piece for this year, I think. And it's really, really awesome. I love it. It's a dual molded gunmetal gray and transparent dark pink in this set, and you get it in a couple of other colors in other sets. But I think it's really awkward that it doesn't have any eyes, and you can't open or close the mouth like from either of the jaws, which is irritating to me. So, I mean, I like the look of this thing because, I mean, it not having eyes isn't the biggest deal because, I mean, like some deep sea fish don't have eyes. If this thing crawled out of the cave somewhere, maybe it doesn't have eyes. But I don't know, I wish that there was a piece on top to cover up that axle. I wish it could open and close its mouth besides just moving these crystal parts. So it's interesting, I'm glad it's here, but I think it could be a little bit better. So here's Nia's new Samurai Mech, and right off the bat, this thing was just a huge letdown for me because I don't like the color scheme, I don't like a lot of parts of the overall design. And that did improve once I actually built it, so I do like it a lot more now that it's built, which is why I'm even doing a review on it in the first place. But it's not at all what I expected to see from Nia. It doesn't seem like something that she'd be walking around in compared to the other stuff that she's done in Ninjago. In terms of the color scheme, I really hate like the black and gold like limbs, and then the fact that it's all this kind of azure color in the middle. And that giant red X across the chest just looks really, really bad in my opinion. This looks like something you'd see from Power Rangers or some generic sci-fi franchise, not something you'd see from LEGO Ninjago. We'll work our way up from the bottom to the top, and while I don't like the color scheme of the legs, I think their overall design is really good. I like the way that the feet are built. I think they look excellent. I really like, you know, the stickered details down here. And I do like these adjustable flaps that move like in and out of the way as you position the mech. You can see that you do have an ankle joint down here, but you can't really move it forwards and backwards. That's an understandable restriction. Like, yeah, it is like a little bit annoying, but you have a little bit of motion there, and it's so that the mech doesn't collapse forward. And so I think that is a pretty smart thing to do. Sorry, having a little bit of trouble talking today. I also really like this curve in here that kind of comes down from the top of like the knee. I think that that's like a really nice shape. And then you do have some stickered pentagonal like Nexonites pieces on either side of the foot. The bottom of the feet also have these like kind of tread like rubber pieces to stop the mech from slipping around while it's standing just like on its feet. And I think that that's a really good addition as well. I believe the Hulkbuster was the first mech to do this back in 2018. And I'm really glad that LEGO continues to use like these kinds of techniques. because having mechs like, you know, not slip around when they're this big and heavy is definitely important. Moving a little bit higher, I also really like these new kind of like wedge pieces. They're pretty similar to pieces we've seen in the past, but I believe they are new for this summer, or if not, like they're relatively new and like came out last year. But they look really good. I do like the pearl gold. I just think that it's really messy mixed in with all the black and blue. And I love these pieces. This is like one of my favorite Lego windshield pieces ever. And getting it in this opaque black color is a really cool addition. The upper part of the legs, it looks okay. Gotta move the arms out of my way a little bit. You do have another sticker over here. I think that that's pretty useless. I don't think that needed to be there. And I mean, I like these pieces, but again, I don't like this color of blue, and it's just not that interesting of a design to me. You do have these little flaps at the front of the mech that kind of move out of the way as you articulate the legs. And speaking of articulation, you do have a large ratcheted joint here, which moves up and down and forwards and back. That's really important on a mech of this size to have that stability like built into the hips there. And so I am glad that these flaps can move in and out of the way. But what's even cooler is that this thing has knees. I'm very, very happy about that. That was a great surprise while I was building. It does expose that like really ugly little section, and you can't bend these windshield pieces down like more than this. But I mean, hey, that's a minor complaint. I'm just really glad that Lego put knees on something this big, because we've gotten some pretty big mechs from the Monkey Kid line, and they have not had knees when they get up to this size, because it's just kind of hard to do that when something is this heavy. So again, like the ankle movement is restricted, but I think that that trade-off is perfectly or definitely worth it for the knees. I like the look of the arms on this thing a lot better than at least the upper part of the leg, because I think that this kind of segmented armor piece works a lot better down here. And even though I don't like the black and gold color scheme, I think that it works like really well in this little stripe, like where you have the two colors running alongside each other with like Sensei Wu's hat there. It's not actually his hat. That's like a similar piece that was made for the Lego Ninjago movie. You do have a sticker over here. Again, kind of useless. I think that there are too many stickers in this set, but I really like the swords that they've given Nia. This is, again, a newer blade piece. I forget when it was introduced. It might have been this year as well, but I don't really keep up with new molds like that much for Ninjago. But they look really nice in gold, and I really like how much articulation the hand itself has. So let me try to pull that up closer a little bit. So you've got just a ball and socket joint. The fingers, come more on camera, thank you. The fingers work really well. They're just kind of topped off with these stamp pieces, not the claws like how I usually prefer them, but they do grip that sword fairly well, although it is attached with like an actual axle as well, which is, again, that's a good thing. The thumb, like the thumb's kind of just there. It's like very small. But hey, I do like the appearance of the hands. I like the arms a lot more than I thought I would, just based on the initial pictures. And you do have these large shoulder armor pieces that can articulate. So again, that's great because it can move in and out of the way as you play with this thing. You have a sticker on these, but I actually like that sticker because I think it looks cool. And again, I do like the black and gold stripes. I think that that's like pretty classy. Nice look. More adjustable flaps. Like Lego really loves their flaps on this mech. And these things are kind of huge and bulky, but if you position them correctly, they can look good. And as you can see, they've got spring-loaded shooters. Now for the main part of the mech, the torso. I really like the shaping down here. I do like the color scheme of this blue and gold. I just think that there's way too much blue here for Nia. Like I don't like this shade of blue for her in general, and that's kind of like where my issues lie. I think the coloring on this set is just really out of whack, and it's all thrown off extremely by this giant red X. Like, why is that here? The original Samurai X mech was red, yes, but like the only other red on this entire set are in some of the clips and on some of the stickers, like in this corner. Lego should not have like put that much red into this set. I think if this was in black or gold, it would look a lot better. So I think that that's kind of like where a lot of my problems with the colors of the set lie. I just don't think they're blocked off correctly, but I like the shaping down there, and I also like the segmented armor look here, because segmented armor is a big thing like with these pieces, so actually building it up is nice to see. You can kind of adjust this X, like you can bring it out a little bit more, but I prefer to have it, you know, kind of like more tilted. Whoops, but that also moves the blades. So yeah, you can adjust that, but I like to kind of have it curving along the body rather than having it stick straight out, because I think that that makes it look even stranger. You have more adjustable flaps, whoops, in this corner, along with some sloping bricks. It can't turn at the waist, which I think is okay. I mean, on something of this size, again, you don't want it kind of spinning around and moving when you're not the one moving it. And you also have more flaps, like kind of in the armpit section over here. So yeah, a lot of those flap pieces in this set. So you've got these blades here. I think that the blades look cool. It's just the X that I don't like. But this entire thing, like, it opens up somehow. I don't know why I'm having trouble with it right now, but hang on, let me figure this out. Okay, I figured out how to open it, but we're going to take a quick look at the head first, because that's where the first part of the opening comes from. The head looks decent. I get what Lego was going for here, like kind of like that samurai, like angular helmet look, but I don't love like the one eye design. Like there's just like transparent pieces back there to suggest like a robotic eye. And I mean, why does Nia have a Cyclops mech? The overall shaping is cool, and you do have like more of these flat pieces that are breaking off. This mech does have like some breakage, like those cockpit pieces I was talking about on the legs. Those break off a lot, but I mean, the shaping on the head is pretty decent. I like the gold parts on top. Now, this entire thing lifts up to give you access to the cockpit, which you can kind of see in there. But what's even nicer is that you can actually just break this a little bit, because these pieces clip in onto these bars, and you can fold that down to get much easier access. So inside, I like the shaping over here as well. I love getting these pieces in this kind of azure color, but I don't love the exposed studs there. Makes it look a little bit unfinished. Inside, you have seating for one minifigure, although, I mean, maybe you could cram another one in standing back there if you really tried to. I do like the little window kind of back there. And then there are some stickers on the sides. Please focus on them. So there's like a drawing of the mech. And then on this side, there's just some control panels and the like. So I've got my Nia minifigure. I'm just going to sit her down. And it is like a little bit difficult to get her in here sometimes. And then look at that, more stuff breaking off. Yeah, I do not like certain things about this set. But yeah, then you can clip that back in place and then close it up. It did hit her horns a little bit, which is kind of disappointing, because it means that she doesn't fit in there perfectly. But that's another thing I don't love about this set. You can't see Nia in there. Like, you can kind of just glimpse her through the gaps in that X. But I like how she could still see out of the original Samurai X or Samurai Mech set. And so I don't like having her completely concealed. I think that she should be a little bit visible. But anyway, spinning this thing around to the back, it is pretty nicely finished. And this is another thing I really appreciated. I like it when Lego finishes their mechs around the back. And so I really liked seeing like all of these gold ingot pieces and even this segmented armor bit down here. I mean, that pretty much does it for this build. I guess, like, we didn't talk about arm articulation that much, but it does have an elbow joint, 360 degrees ratcheting in that corner, and then the same kind of joints that are on the legs up at the shoulder. So there are strong joints on this thing. And so with that in mind, let's try posing this in a couple of different ways. First of all, walking. You can get this thing into a walking pose, and you know what? You can't do that for a lot of Lego mechs nowadays. So that definitely gets a plus from me. You can even get this thing to do the splits. Some parts might break off along the way, but this just really demonstrates to you how much articulation there is in this mech compared to a lot of stuff Lego's done recently. I can't stress that enough. There have been a lot of Lego sets in like the past few months that have really disappointed me in their lack of articulation. You can get the arms up fairly high, but they don't go any more than that at the shoulder. That bothers me a tiny bit just because I like being able to bend the arms of my Lego robots a little bit more than that. But honestly, the biggest problem while posing this thing has been these windscreen pieces. I love them so much. They're like one of my favorite parts of the set, but I want to be able to push this further back so that it's flush against the leg as it moves, and it just won't go any further than that. I don't think Lego really could have done anything different there, but they're constantly breaking off when you're trying to pose the legs, and it does get to just be a little bit irritating. And the same goes for certain sections on the arms. Like, I broke all of that while trying to pose the shoulder, which, like, stuff like that is just kind of frustrating, especially if you're trying to play with this set. There are some pretty great extras in this set, a lot of weapons, and you do get all of the golden weapons because all of them come in just like one of those little perforated packs. The box for this set is Lego's like typical $100 to $120 box size. I really love the art for this year, just with like all the gold and the pink, but the mech looks super awkward on the front of the box. Again, I think it looks awkward in general, but yeah, the pose it's striking here is quite strange. On top, you've got all of the minifigure names, and then on the back, for some reason, these crystallized sets don't really show any play features or articulation or anything. Here is the disgusting 2022 instruction manual. Just nothing more to say there. At the back, you do have an ad for the other sets this year, but they're all in their boxes, which is pretty strange for LEGO advertisements. So as you guys can tell, I haven't been that enthusiastic throughout this review because I just don't think this set is very exciting. I was really hoping for one last amazing mech from LEGO Ninjago, you know, now that the series is kind of ending, but unless we get something else in the future, I think Nia's going out with more of a whimper than with a bang. The minifigures here are excellent. I really like them. This might have, you know, my favorite minifigure lineup of any of these new sets, actually. Just because I like Pythor and Garmadon and Lil Nelson. And Nia, of course, because her minifigure is awesome. But the set itself is just like, I don't know. I'm seeing like hints of greatness here, but what the designers ended up doing is not that exciting. I don't like the color scheme. I don't really like the overall appearance. Again, like I said, it feels like something out of Power Rangers. It does not feel like a LEGO Ninjago set. I think that this would even be better suited to Pixel's Samurai X than Nia's. It just doesn't feel like something Nia would ever like use, you know? And maybe part of that, the reason is because it's so big and I associate Nia with like, you know, smaller, like faster mechs. But all that being said, it is a great toy, and that's something that I haven't been able to say about other LEGO sets recently. There have been some LEGO sets that I've reviewed, and I'm like, it's a terrible toy. I think that this is a pretty decent toy. It is annoying that the windscreens will like fall off like at the slightest touch, but it has a lot more articulation than other mechs of its size. I think it works really well. It's got spring-loaded missiles. Overall, it's a decent toy. I just wouldn't recommend it if you're a fan like me that wanted something more for display. But I mean, even as a build experience, it was a fun build experience, more entertaining than I expected. So I don't regret buying it, but this also isn't the kind of thing that's going to stay built for more than like another month for me. So that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com, and I'll see you guys with more videos soon. Bye for now.